In today's episode of How Long Until Satch Destroys His Mental Health, I am going to be attempting to get to round 50 using only the Remington shotgun from Black Ops 2. Shotguns in CodZombies are some of my favourite weapons to use. They look cool, they sound cool, and they're also just super fun to use. But I can't say that about every shotgun. Now don't get me wrong, there is a lot of great ones across the Zombies discography. The dual barrel from all the various World War II entries, the Hauer from Cold War, can't forget about pre-patch Mark 12, the KSG, Executioner, and a surprising choice, but the combat shotgun from Vanguard. Yeah, I said Vanguard. Remember that mess? We've also had a few wonder weapons take up the form of a shotgun like the Blundergat, which, no surprise, is my favourite wonder weapon of all time, and the Cell 3 Cauterizer from Advanced Warfare. There has also been the fair share of absolute stinkers when it comes to shotguns over the years as well. Controversial, but the Stakeout from Black Ops 1, Trench Gun from World at War, and the Gallo from Cold War just aren't it. But neither is today's weapon of choice, being the Remington 870 MCS. I have no idea what the MCS stands for, but after today it might as well be Might Cause Sadness. First things first, we need a map, and for some reason my brain immediately picked Nuketown. Honestly, couldn't explain that decision even if I tried. And also apparently I realized that very shortly after booting up the map, as Buried is clearly the best option for this weapon. I know there'll be someone saying, but oh, Town this and Town that, and just no, Town is a no. You do realize just how much ammo it takes to get to high-ish rounds on Black Ops 2, like a shit ton. And guess what Town is lacking? A shit ton. Oh, that's right. Ammo. To even get within a spitting distance of round 50, I needed a map with a wallby in a somewhat decent area, but the Remington just gets thrown into all of the worst possible places on literally every map, but not Buried. Having the freedom of choosing where to put the Remington wallby is so huge for a challenge like this, as you'll just be chewing through this gun's ammo like a fat kid with a pack of Skittles. So with the Remington wallby placed in a good spot, it was time to get to work on this round 50. The first couple of rounds are pretty slow as I'm trying to min-max my points to get my perks and pack-a-punch as quickly as possible, as well as getting familiar with just how bad the Remington is. It's so bad in fact, on round 2, I go to shoot a zombie in the head, point blank, and the pellets just say, nah bitch, I ain't hitting that, and do some funky wanted bending bullet shenanigans around his head. To say I was flabbergasted is an understatement. So with my new bullet bending gun, I continued through the early rounds, getting my points together, mainly for pack-a-punch as this gun needed it desperately. Round 5, I actually end up taking it down as a zombie to my side pops his dead silence, waits for the perfect time to strike, and before I know it, I'm staring at a giant's knees. It's early game, plenty of time left, nothing to worry about. That was until the very next round where the zombies tag team me in a corner and then I'm down for the count. Unfortunately for me at least, I can't end on round 6, so it's time to run it back for more pain. Now thankfully I forgot to hit record for the next run, so what you're currently seeing is the third run, not the second, but that second run ended with me taking it down in round 2. I'm sure you can use your imagination to figure out how that one went. This run, however, was going much better. We had our Remington all nice and early, and then we decided to open up Jug and make that our next major purchase to save myself from any more early round embarrassment. Round 7, and I've racked up a pretty nice point tally, and I've got myself Speed Cola and Double Tap, and now I'm on my way to Pack-a-Punch. Not before going to the mansion and dealing with the ghost in hopes of getting a free perk, which I managed to do successfully, and of course, my free perk is Mule Kick. Like, it's almost like the game knows and just plays some sick and twisted game with me every time I do one of these challenges. Now that I've got 5 perks, it's time for the main show. Remington goes in the Pack-a-Punch, and we get the refitted 870 Mechanical Cranium Sequencer. No, like, seriously though, who named this? I just want to talk. Now that I had a Pack-a-Punch gun in my hands, a good set of perks, all I had to do was click on heads, which unsurprisingly, when you have all of those things combined, it actually makes even one of the worst guns kind of competent. Round 12 and the mansion is all lit up, meaning it's time for free perk number 2. Now I only had the good ones left, so I wasn't really that bothered with which one we got first, but it was stamina up. Back to clicking heads, and it was now that we crossed into the teen rounds that I was beginning to expect the 870 to fall off a little bit, but it didn't. I actually made light work of the zombies all the way up to round 17, where I was honestly just hip firing and quite literally clicking on heads. However, round 17 and the mansion was lit up once more, and it was time for our final free perk, Vulture Aid. And by the way, I'm still kind of pissed we haven't seen this make a comeback yet, like at all. Like, are you seriously gonna bring back Tombstone before Vulture Aid? Almost makes a grown man cry. The 870 was still clapping those cheeks even into the early 20s, which once again, I was quite surprised about. It's now round 22, and this is where I do end up taking my first down of the game. I was walking backwards, not paying any attention to my surroundings, and I end up getting myself stuck on this cart of stuff and sandwiched in between a bunch of zombies. I was trying my absolute hardest to get out of this, but it just wasn't to be, and we go down. Upon being revived, I noticed I still had all of my perks, thanks to a perma perk that I still have no idea how to activate it or where it comes from, but I am very glad, as it's always saving my ass on these maps. There was one slight problem now though, and that was that I couldn't buy quick revive, as I still had more than 4 perks. But thankfully the mansion's lights are on, which only means one thing: free perk. Now that would have been the case if my dumbass, whilst playing, took a second to look up at the mansion to see the lights were on, but instead I opted for panic stations and ran around like an idiot until round 24, where I of course end up getting myself trapped in the jug hallway. But if I was going down, I wasn't going down without a fight, and I won't lie, if this gun had some kind of speed loader or maybe some extra rounds in the magazine, like 2 or 3 extra rounds, bro, I probably would have survived here. But it wasn't meant to be. At this point, I was starting to get a little frustrated, and I had also noticed that the 870's damage falls off a cliff once you pass round 24, but I couldn't let that be the final round. I got to time to run it back once more. This time, instead of running straight down, I decided to stick around in the starting room just to grind together some extra points. That was until I got trapped in a corner yet again, and then took another down on round 2. So, that's the end of that. What do you mean I can't end it like that? No, I'm not doing that again. Fine, one more attempt, but then I'm done for real. Alright, because I apparently have to continuously torment myself, I ran it back one more time. Round 7, and I was in a very familiar position to that of our best run. 5 perks on the board, and heading down for a pack-a-punch. This time, I didn't exactly have the points to pack-a-punch straight away, which meant it was time for a standoff in the pack-a-punch room, which I won. Somehow. Now that I'd gotten the points, it was time to upgrade the Remington, but instead of leaving with our newly upgraded gun, like a normal person would, I stuck around for some reason, and I actually ended up pack-a-punching the shotgun 2 more times. First being to see what sight it gets, and the second being to get rid of that sight because I didn't like it. Straight up, thing sucked. It looked so bad. Round 11, and it was time to leave, and as I'd waited long enough, the mansion's lights were back on, which I didn't realize, and I ended up getting my 6th perk of the game here, being Mule Kick. Once again, you know, one of these days I'll get just vote trade and stamina up on this map, you know, just one day. Round 20, and this is where I do get a vote trade. I left it a little later than what I could have, as I felt vote trade would slow things down just a bit too much early game, but round 20, and it's in the loadout. Round 24, and I've equaled my current highest, and like I said earlier, this gun just face plants off of a cliff at this round. All semblance of damage and safety, yeah, it's just gone. And from this point onwards, it is struggle town, and oh boy, is it bad. I take it down around 26, which, you know, could have very easily been avoided if I just paid attention to what I was doing for once. Although this time I was paying attention to the mansion, and I get my quick revive back as soon as I can. A few more rounds go by, and before soon I make it to round 30, which subsequently also became the round where I take my 2nd down. Once again, so thankful for this mystery permaperk saving my life. Now that I'd crossed into the 30s, this gun was fighting for its life. It also got to the point where I was starting to worry that I'd be running out of points for ammo, as who could have guessed it, but this gun doesn't kill things or generate points very easily past like round 28. It's not good. Round 32, I also take it down as a zombie was hiding behind a door, just waiting for me to turn my back on him so he could grab me by the butt and just pull me down. As I'd taken 2 downs in a fairly quick succession, the mansion's lights were still off, and it was down to me and the very little skill that I have to try and stay alive for as long as possible. But of course, my level of skill is not very high, and I take my final down of the game on round 34. The Remington shotgun, even though it started out very promisingly, this thing is just not good when it comes down to it. It's not good, and round 34 it is. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and a sub if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what other challenges you want to see, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.